All right, guys, welcome back to Todd and Tate. We're going to explain EV charging and how you need to size your system based on what you drive. So Tate has these basic knowledge of how many kilowatt hours, so the battery size equal to how many miles it'll go, equal to
100 miles. It just breaks it down into smaller increments.
This is how I look at it, guys. So let me give you the Todd reason, what we like to call the Todd way of doing it. So when I explain this to clients, how I explain it to is I say, look, how do you budget your gas? You budget your gas by how many miles you drive and how many miles to the gallon you get per car. It's the same thing with batteries, okay? If you've got a battery that is a 100 kilowatt battery and you can go 300 miles on that, okay, that's fine. Then we figure out how many kilowatt hours it takes to fill this up. So in essence, this would be almost 60 kilowatt hours to fill this, for them to go.
It's actually a little over
90 kilowatt hours. So the thing you guys got to remember here is when you're building the system, the first question you ask your clients, your customers, everyone is how much do you drive? Do you drive average 15,000 miles, 10 to 15,000? Are you like me? I drive almost 50,000 miles a year. You drive even more than that, right? Aren't you in the 60? So our system, our number of panels to cover our electric cars would be very different to my mother who is retired, who drives into town once a day. So when a salesman comes up to you and says, hey, I want to chuck on 4 or 5 more panels to cover your car, that means nothing. It's just a number in the wind. What we need to do as salesmen is to understand exactly, get down into the nitty gritty of the numbers. So figure out how long they're going to drive. Oh, I drive this far to work. Okay, we go to this amount we go to on vacation twice a year. We like to go out on the weekends. You figure out what that number is, 10, 12, 15, 30,000 30,000 miles a year. And you take our formula, which we'll explain in just a minute, and figure out how many kilowatt hours, and then you build the system. Guys, if me and Tate needed more panels, we'd almost need an entire system that would normally go on a house to cover our usage.
Yeah.
So you have to have that in mind. I mean, yes, buying an EV is cheaper, but you're still going to pay, whether you're paying the gas tank or whether you're paying PG&E or any of the other utilities. One way or the other, you're going to have to pay. So we as salesmen need to be better at explaining this. So Tate really quickly is just going to show us the numbers. Quickly, Tate. Quickly.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine.
So this is the numbers we go with.
Okay, guys, I want you to break this down. It will change for every car you drive. This is standardization. You need to figure out how big your battery is. So this is your car battery, and how many miles it will get you on that battery. Okay, so the math is really simple from there. So the average, what we kind of go with on average is kind of what we use. This is a Tesla car, and it's not precise, but kind of what it basically boils down to. 100 kilowatt battery will go 300 miles. So I break that down. The average person drives about 100 miles a day when they're driving. Well, some people drive 100 miles a day.
Okay, keep going.
That's probably the people that are going to have troubles with this are going to do 100 miles a day. So 100 miles a day equals 33.5 kilowatt hours.
That's per day, guys.
Of usage. Now you can cut that any more. Split it up, divide it by 300. Then you're going to know for every mile you have, and then just times it by that.
I like that way of doing it.
Okay. Now, one thing we always have to add into that calculation is the charging. The charger takes about 10% to charge. You're going to have about a 10% loss. So for that 100 miles at 33 kilowatts, I have my loss of about 10%. So I have to add that 10% on. It's about 36.5, 0.85 kilowatt hours per 100 miles.
It's called 37 kilowatt hours.
Now, in a year, we basically say that the average person drives 260 miles or 260 days a year, 5 days a week going to work. We figure that's probably your worst one. At that point, that number for just doing 100 miles a day is 9,581 kilowatt hours a year. The average house,
My system produces 7,600 kilowatt hours.
exactly.
So I would literally need to put 2 systems on my house, one to run my life and one to run my car. So this is where you guys have to know the difference. It's so important.
It is immensely important. Now, if you're planning on adding a car down the road, when is that going to happen? If it's going to happen 15 years down the road,
Don't even worry about it.
If it's going to happen next year when you're on the list and you're waiting for your color, chartreuse pink Tesla to come in,
They have a pink Tesla.
they will if you pay for it, I'm sure. I'm sure you get it wrapped that way at least. So if that happens, you're waiting for that car to come in, you're buying the car. I'm on the list. Make sure you add in those miles you're going to drive. Now, this can also come up with, hey, why did my bill go through the roof?
Again, this goes back to our true-up bill. Again, if I build my system 7,500 and I add a car for 95, I'm going to have a true-up bill, and it's going to look like my solar did nothing.
Exactly.
That's what we hear all the time. Oh, my solar didn't even change my bill. Well, you use 9,000 kilowatt hours extra. Come on,
And you
guys.
only sized it for 7,000.
So these things are important. The better the salesman is going to know to ask these questions. So when you're looking for us, we need a salesman need to be better at this. So I think that's all we have today.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, you need help with this, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
How many times do I answer phone calls all day long trying to help customers save money?
And if you want it less, you can call me. As in,
I'll
like
tell you the
20
truth
minutes.
and he'll dumb it down to where you can understand it.
Only because I have to dumb it down. Okay, that's Todd and Tate. Don't forget to subscribe to Yep, That's Todd.